6th July, 1949. Murunganar Swami, a very old and distinguished disciple, a Tamil scholar and poet, handed Maharshi a Tamil poem composed by himself, in it praying Sri Bhagavan to live up to 100 years in perfect health. A devotee read it aloud, and upon hearing it, Sri Maharshi said, "There is a story of a Vaishnava saint in whose centenary celebration his disciples prayed that he should live for another 100 years. You want me to live up to 100, so that you may, at the end of it, pray for another 100. 15th July. Bhagavan's health seems to be improving. Since a few days, pieces have been falling from the tumor, the last portion of which dropped yesterday. Today, the herbalist applied a highly irritating herb on the wound in order to suck out all the morbid matter from its base, which is said to be now flat. Internal medicines have also been given since some days. By evening, the irritation must have reached considerable proportions as to cause shivering and feverishness, judging from Maharshi's listlessness, somnolence, and drugged-out look. Although, as usual, he never complained of pain or any inconvenience. But when at 4:45 p.m. he prepared to go out, he showed signs of extreme weakness. His whole body shook, and the legs were utterly unable to stand or bear his weight, even for one step. We all thought he was going to collapse in a heap before our eyes. But somehow he steadied himself, and with the attendant's support, managed to go to the bathroom, where the old application was substituted by a new soothing herb. On his return, the weakness and the forcible dragging of the legs were more pronounced, so that by the time he crossed the frightfully high stone threshold into the hall and looked at us, signs of death were on his face. The strain on the heart from this exertion, and probably from the drugs, was tremendous, as we judged from his loud panting, which continued even after he had dropped exhausted on his couch. Every one of the 300 men and women devotees present turned pale and remained transfixed to the ground, till the attendants made signs to them to sit down. Even in a solemn moment like that, when life hung by the flimsiest thread, Sri Maharshi's solicitude for the guests and devotees occupied the first place in his mind, for he hardly rested when he called the attendant Satyananda, who had supported his hip joints in his journey to and from the bathroom, and whispered something to him, which was later explained as his declared desire that the dining routine should not be altered, which implied that he would not have his dinner alone in the darshan hall, as he had suspected such a plan was afoot, but as usual in the dining hall with others. The dining hall is situated at a great distance from the darshan hall, and its southern entrance, by which Maharshi usually enters, is preceded by 7 steep steps. To go there for dinner would compel Sri Bhagavan not only to make the distance on foot, but also cross the terrible threshold of the hall, as well as climb all the 7 steps, which is far more than his state of health would permit. A few of his important disciples went to him one after another and begged of him to consent to dine alone in the darshan hall where he sat, but he refused. Our hearts were in our mouths when the dinner bell rang at 7:30 p.m., and we saw him preparing to go down and walk. But walk he did, and with firm steps too. But in order to make him avoid the southern entrance, he was requested to enter by the northern one, which had only 2 easy steps. But he turned down the request by moving to the southern door and climbing the steep steps. He tottered for a while, and seeing the attendants ready to hold him, he stopped, turned to them, and said, "If you leave me alone, I would walk far steadier," and then entered the dining hall unaided. 20th July, 1949. Last night a lady doctor saw the Maharshi's wound and privately told some of us that there was nothing to congratulate ourselves for, as the tumor was still present and that what had fallen off was only the cauliflower excrescences, which had been necrosis by the caustic herb application. 31st July, 1949. Faith in the herbalist has completely waned. The tumor has increased in size, and Bhagavan's health has greatly deteriorated, with a daily rise of temperature in the evening and loss of appetite. On the 25th, Dr. Guru Swami, the famous diagnostic physician of Madras, came and saw the wound. He expressed great dissatisfaction at the way the case had been handled, at the radium treatment, and at the application of caustic herbs. He prescribed injections, the first of which was given on the 28th in the evening. And this morning, 8 doctors were counted in the ashram. Some more arrived at noon for a big medical consultation. Bhagavan is cheerful and jovial as ever, although his health is much worse than yesterday. Seeing Krishnamurthy, the radiologist, sitting in the first row next to a great devotee, Balarama Reddy, he exclaimed in surprise, "Aha, what a coincidence! He, the radiologist, always reminds me of Balarama. Same complexion, same hair, same features, and now they are sitting side by side. Balarama is the elder brother of Sri Krishna, and this Balarama is older than this Krishnamurti." And Bhagavan laughed heartily. For some days, the Brahmin priests of the ashram have been daily performing a special puja and Surya Namaskar, the sun worship, for Maharshi's recovery. Today, Maharshi remarked, "What is the use of this? The spirit which is in the sun is here and everywhere." At about 3 p.m., all the doctors assembled for consultation. Sri Maharshi, in his usual compassion, wanted the 2 devotee homeopaths also to be called. They were called just to satisfy the letter of his wish, as no doctor except one took any notice of them. In the night, one of them was taken to task for having administered a single homeopathic dose to Sri Maharshi earlier in the afternoon.